Good morning and welcome to the National Press Theatre. Stephen Marr, the Post Media. We're going to have a statement from Justin Trudeau and apparently Eve Adams as well.
Good morning everyone. Thank you for being here. Today is a very difficult day for me. 2014 has been a very difficult year for me, with a bitter nomination battle, problems in my own party, and health issues from which I fortunately fully recovered. When I first walked into the House of Commons, Jean Chrétien was leader of the official opposition, and I was on a work scholarship as an 18-year-old parliamentary page. I used to sign up for extra shifts during the constitutional debates that would last late into the evening. As a daughter of immigrant parents who fled communism, I felt very privileged and honored to be able to stand on the floor of the House of Commons as our leaders debated the future of our nation. It was an enormously exciting time to be at the nation's capital. There was a palpable hope and enthusiasm that our party was on the cusp of reinvention. As a conservative member, a progressive conservative member, since I was 14 years old, I believed strongly in that party and the direction we were headed. I had the great privilege of working for excellent members, both provincially and federally, and I forged tremendous friendships that I value to this day. The years that I spent working and volunteering for the Progressive Conservative Party were always inspired by a deep motivation to serve. In 2003, I decided to seek elected office. I made that decision because I wanted to play a direct role in improving the quality of life for my community and for my neighbors. I remain motivated by the very same things today that motivated me then. So whether on city or regional council, corporate boards, volunteer organizations, or in the private sector, I learned that the key elements to a strong and successful team were leadership, humanity, and kindness. When I was recruited to run as a Conservative Member of Parliament, I joined with great hopes of doing work to help better the lives of all Canadians. And the most gratifying part of my job has been making a positive and tangible difference for my constituents. From calls late into the evenings with people who want to understand and benefit from programs for their family, to helping those who want to reunite with their loved ones or obtain a visitor visa for a special occasion. Helping Canadians navigate their way through government red tape in order to get what they and their families need is extremely gratifying. I've met with many families who have spent many years struggling. With mounting bills, they can't even contemplate how to save for their children's education or their own retirement. As a government, we were given a tremendous opportunity with a purported surplus to do right by folks. Instead, the government is still about to roll out policies like income splitting, which will devour the surplus without benefiting most Canadian families or creating a single job. These policies are designed to advantage a sliver of the population, the wealthiest, while relying on the middle-class Canadians to pay for it. I cannot support mean-spirited measures that benefit only the richest few. After the numbers were provided, even Canada's former finance minister, the Honourable Jim Flaherty, a progressive conservative from Ontario, could not support the impact and the waste of income splitting. I can no longer support mean-spirited leadership that divides people instead of bringing them together. We need a kind, generous, and strong leadership that champions a shared vision for how to make Canada work for everyone. I want to work with someone who inspires, not with fearmongers and bullies. I want to support a leader who strongly and unequivocally respects a woman's right to choose. It is time for a leader who has the ability to rally his team and all Canadians to steer the country in a more positive, productive, and united direction. That leader is Justin Trudeau. That is why, after a long and very difficult period of reflection, I've decided to leave the party that I've served since I was 14 years old, to leave my role as Parliamentary Secretary to Health, and to join the Liberal Party of Canada. I'm very proud of the time I've spent in government, and I'll work very hard to bring that experience and passion to the Liberal Party and continue to serve my constituents. And I want to thank Mr. Trudeau for welcoming me into the party. I'll be seeking the nomination for the Liberal Party of Canada in the GTA. I look forward to meeting and listening to the Liberal Party members later today when I head back to Toronto to get to work. I will stand behind a leader who demonstrated humanity, compassion, and decisiveness when a serious issue like sexual harassment was brought to his attention. He didn't just sweep it under the carpet. I will knock on every door of the riding in order to support, in my own small way, a Trudeau Liberal government this coming election. I did not make this decision overnight, but I no longer feel at home in the Conservative Party, either politically or intellectually. This is a very bittersweet day for me. I leave behind a party that I have supported for more than 25 years, a party for which I volunteered endless hours when we had no hope of forming the government. But I have reached deep into my heart and deep into my mind, and I can state with conviction that I am making the right decision. Today, I join the Liberal Party of Canada. I'm proud to follow Justin Trudeau, who will be a forceful, optimistic, and strong leader.
Thank you, Yves, for your kind words. Merci tout le monde d'être ici. When we began building the team that we would present to Canadians in the 2015 election, our first and foremost priority was to recruit strong community leaders who would be their community's voice in Ottawa. That's why Eve got into politics. She wanted to be her community's voice in Ottawa, not the Prime Minister's voice in her community. She has shown passion and commitment to her constituents both as a city councillor and as an MP, and in her work as a parliamentary secretary. But she has also seen her work restrained by a party focused on the politics of meanness and division. I know how personally challenging this decision has been for Eve. In our conversations, she has told me about the kind of advocate she wants to be, both for her community and for women's rights and for the middle class. Comme membre de mon caucus,
as member of my caucus, Eve will contribute her ideas and her community's ideas. Her work will be very important to our caucus discussions. Eve understands that we are building and that we have a significant amount of work still to do. The Liberal Party of Canada is an inclusive party, and our growth depends on our ability to bring people together in order to be able to help the middle class. And that is an important factor. When you bring people together, you need hope, you need hard work, and with that, you can accomplish many things.
Is for inclusion. Our growth depends on bringing people together to grow the middle class. It also depends on bringing people together who believe that through hope and hard work, we can and will do great things. We are committed to a welcoming and inclusive vision of Canada that brings people together, not one that attacks and divides. We are building the team and the plan that will give hard-working Canadians a real and fair chance at better incomes, more financial security, and a more prosperous future. A plan that realizes that strengthening the economy means strengthening the middle class. Une équipe et un plan qui rassemble toutes les régions du Canada,
and a plan that brings all regions of the country together, and that makes sure that Canada is strong, not despite its differences, but because of its differences.
And recognizes that Canada is strong, not in spite of our differences, but because of them. We can do better for Canadians. I'm pleased that Eve is joining us today to help us do just that. Je suis heureux qu'Eve se joigne à nous.
I'm so pleased that Eve is joining us in order to do just that.
We'll be happy to take your questions now.
We'll start with Madeleine Blais-Morin, Radio-Canada. Mr. Trudeau, besides today's announcement that you are saying is a success, how do you feel with respect to the principles of members who decide to change parties just before elections? Are you not worried about those voters who voted that candidate in? Yes, I understand that. It's a question that we asked ourselves when Elise Saint-Denis, for example, switched to the Liberals from the NDP a few years ago. But the reality is that we are elected by our constituents to represent them and to be good representatives, to be loyal to the values of the community that elected us and also loyal to our own values. And Eve has decided that the best way to serve her community, to serve her constituents, is to represent a party that brings people together and that takes positive steps, not divisive steps.
You're saying your political values, your intellectual values don't fit anymore in the Conservative Party. But what part of the fact you were not able to run in Oakville, North Burlington is playing in your decision today?
You know, to be sure, the fact that...
I'm sorry, how much weight did it play in your decision today?
You know, it was very difficult to be asked to step aside by a party that I had volunteered for and served for over 25 years. But that is not the main factor. It cannot possibly be that factor. That sparked a very long reflection, and sometimes things happen for a reason. And the more I soul-searched, it was very clear that the values of the Conservative Party are not the values of the original Progressive Conservative Party, and they're not the values that I hold.
Althea Raj, Huffington Post.
Mr. Trudeau.
Mr. Trudeau.
I don't really know how to say this tactfully, but why would you want Eve Adams as a candidate? I'm sorry, Ms. Adams, but, you know, there was the whole mess with the Oakville North Burlington nomination battle. There's the whole baggage with Dimitri Soudis. Why would you, in this moment where you're trying to put a fresh face on the Liberal Party, why would you want to have Eve Adams as this part of this new Liberal team?
One of the things I've been very, very excited about in the team that I'm building across this country is we have a lot of people who've come from the municipal level, people who are deeply committed to citizens through direct service, through demonstrating a commitment to public service at the local level as well. And Eve has a long and serious history as a very effective municipal councillor. However, at the same time, she's someone who's demonstrated strength and ability at a tremendous level within the conservative government. She's been parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Health. She is someone who is valued, someone who has always been forthright in her perspective and in her approach. And I am recognizing that one of the keys for the Liberal Party to win the next election is to convince a lot of people who voted for different parties in the last election to vote for this party now. And when we can showcase that people of all different political stripes are turning towards the Liberal Party as a strong and capable better government, this is what we're most proud of bringing together.
And Ms. Adams, you mentioned that you plan on running in the GTA. I assume you're obviously not going to be running in the seat that you have now because Mr. Baines, I think, is running there. Where do you plan on running, and are you going to be contesting for a nomination?
Yes, I'll be contesting in an open nomination. But out of respect to the community, I'd like to go and meet with the community leaders first. And then I'll be making an announcement in a couple of days.
Next question, David Lundgren from Reuters.
Ms. Adams, it's no secret that there is increasing grumbling inside the Tory party about the way things are going. Are you aware of any other of your colleagues who might be considering the same kind of move?
It certainly is no secret. I can tell you that, obviously, I'm sure many of you are aware there are about 20 folks who are not re-offering, and some of these are some of the most loyal folks you will ever find. I, too, was seriously considering leaving federal politics. I think, as you may be aware, I've been actively recruited to run, for instance, in a by-election. But I think that government ought to be about service, and we're given this wonderful opportunity to serve our residents. It is one thing to be competitive during a campaign, but once you've actually been elected, you ought to serve the entire country. And in the Conservative Party, it really has been a politics of division, where we take one group of folks and pit them against another group of Canadians simply because there might be a few additional votes to be had. And that's not leadership. It's not strong, optimistic leadership. If you're actually given the humbling opportunity to govern, I think you ought to go out and help as many Canadians as you possibly can. And that actually was my background in municipal politics. I championed daycare, and I championed fiscally prudent infrastructure investments throughout the community, not in the communities only that would vote for me.
Mr. Trudeau, can we expect more defections to your party, do you think, from the Conservatives?
I'm incredibly proud of the team that we're building. I'm proud of the strong and principled stances that we're taking, and Canadians across the country are looking towards the Liberal Party as a place that is recognizing and reflecting their values. I have no further announcements this morning, but I will continue to work very, very hard to earn the trust of Canadians across this country.
Prochaine question, Daniel Leblanc, Globe Now.
Daniel Leblanc.
Doesn't it feed cynicism to have in the Liberal Party someone who basically was forced out of the Conservative Party? Did you have a home? Did you know where else you would have run for the Conservative Party, and suddenly you figure, oh well, I'll go to the Liberals? The sense of moving from one party to another often feeds cynicism in the population. And it's a question for both of you.
No, it's not about that at all. It's actually about the fact that the party no longer shares my values.
But you wanted to run so strongly for that party a few months ago.
As I mentioned to you, it did spark a very serious period of reflection, deep soul searching. You know, sometimes things happen for a reason. And the fact of the matter is, I haven't felt at home in the Conservative Party now for many, many years. And I think many progressive Conservatives have had that realization over the last few years. And it's a divisiveness. I mean, come on, for somebody who so tightly controls policy and initiatives and communications, how is it possible that a woman's right to choose still comes to the floor of Parliament and is debated? How is it that, had we simply relied on Conservative members of Parliament, a woman's right to choose would be in peril today? It took opposition members standing united, voting against that.
And one of the things that has, one of the many things that has impressed me about Eve in our conversations this week is her deep commitment to public service and her desire to be a strong voice for her values and for the people she represents in Ottawa. And I am excited about bringing her on as part of our team to demonstrate both the broad range and the strong voices that the Liberal Party is presenting to Canadians in this next election.
Next question, Melanie Marquis, Presse Canadienne.
Oui, bonjour.
Thank you.
My question is for Ms. Adams. I'm sorry it's not about gossip, but many media are reporting that you're still with Dimitri Soudas. Is that still the case? And if so, how is that going to play out, the conservative-liberal dynamics in the couple?
So this announcement really is about the fact that I'm leaving behind a party that I've faithfully served for over 25 years. I can tell you that my entire family is 100% supportive.
Monsieur Trudeau, de façon générale, on a
Mr. Trudeau, you announced seat 51. Are you sort of trying to position yourself a little further to the right? The Liberal Party has always attempted to represent the majority of Canadians, and we've always managed to put forward solutions that reflect our values, the values of Canadians, whether those at times come from different ends of the spectrum. We look at what works to best serve Canadians. And when it comes to the economy, as you have seen from time to time, my solutions may come more from the right, but in terms of social policy and social concerns for people's rights, I have often taken solutions from the left. So this reflects my commitment to Canadians' priorities, and those priorities reflect the Canadian reality. And so I don't necessarily want to just be boxed in when that box does not always represent people's realities.
Ms. Adams, could you describe the process that brought you here today? Did you approach them, or did they approach you? And if so, when did those discussions begin?
I approached them some weeks ago now.
How did that happen? How did that come together?
private conversation. We had private conversations, and the end result is, as you see right now, we are growing the Liberal Party caucus and representing an increasing number of Canadians who are dissatisfied with the tone, the approach, the policies and politics of this Conservative government.
Ms. Adams, when did you tell the Prime Minister's office that you were leaving?
He was informed this morning.
Did you speak in person?
I sent a letter.
Next question, Josh Wingrove, Globe and Mail.
No. Sorry, yes.
Oh!
Jonathan Den with Bloomberg. Can you say you're confirming you're sitting as the Liberal MP, not as an independent?
Correct.
Okay, and can you just speak, you spoke about mean-spirited leadership in the Conservative Party, presumably you're referring to Prime Minister Harper. You've been Parliamentary Secretary until now. Can you elaborate on what you meant by that, and frankly why you haven't spoken up before? You've been a pretty staunch defender of the party until now.
There is, as I've indicated to you, there is a mean-spiritedness and divisiveness in the leadership approach, in how we approach governing. And I guess I'm having a tough time, you'll excuse me with the pronouns here, but they, the way that they govern. When it comes to specifics like income splitting, I think that's one of the easiest examples. It is simply taking one group of Canadians, pitting them against another, forcing the middle class to pay for what amounts to a rather substantial tax cut to the wealthiest families in Canada. And it's not just, you know, I that have come to this realization. I mean, the former finance minister obviously went through, and once those numbers were hashed out, I mean, people have now been coming to this realization and been very vocal about it and saying that this is not fair to Canadians. This ought not to be how we spend any purported surplus. And if this is genuinely the main plank going forward into the next election, like, how profoundly unfair of a Canada do we want to build? I'd suggest to you that I would much prefer to follow an optimistic, strong leadership of Justin Trudeau and to ensure that Justin Trudeau becomes the next Prime Minister of Canada.
Trudeau, can you say quickly whether you expect Mr. Soudas to have any role in your party, either as a volunteer or anything? Is Dimitri Soudas going to be working in any way on behalf of the Liberal Party going forward?
I expect that Eve brings with her a family and a team of friends and supporters who will be quite active as she attempts to win the actual nomination in the GTA ridings. But more than that, this is all about Eve this morning.
Next question, Julie Van Dusen, CBC.
So, Mr. Trudeau, there's no point going over all Ms. Adams' headline-grabbing activities last year because we followed a lot of them, and I'm sure you're aware of them. So I'm just wondering, did you think twice about this? Have you run it by your caucus?
We actually had a great discussion last Wednesday in very general terms about the Liberal Party's growth, about the theoretical possibility of floor crossing, and the very strong sense that caucus expressed was that what is most important is the hard work on the ground in the riding, the building of a relationship with constituents, and bringing them along and demonstrating a local focus as a counter to some of the inevitable accusations that get thrown around anytime someone makes a decision like this. So I'm the caucus knows that we have to grow in order to be competitive, and this is what it's all about. And I look forward to having an expanded caucus when we return next week from our constituency week.
So the caucus knows you have to grow, but they didn't know it was going to grow with Eve Adams. Is that what you're saying?
They supported an openness to drawing in great people who are strong representatives who will be committed Liberals, and that's exactly what Eve has demonstrated to me in our conversations.
Ms. Adams, can I ask Ms. Adams something?
Okay, go ahead.
Just to clear up this whole thing regarding Dimitri Soudas, so he knows that you're joining the Liberals. Is he okay with that, or?
So as I indicated to you, and I don't know, is it the Conservative Party members that are asking you to call? Because I know you wouldn't ask something like this. You wouldn't ask a woman about what her spouse or her previous friend may be doing. You'd want to ask me about my credentials or my hope for the future.
Your credentials, but you were linked with the former director of the Conservative Party, and he's been in virtually every story about you, so that's why it's pertinent. So it's a question that I think is valid. Like, is he okay with this? Will he be working on your campaign? I think it's a legitimate question.
So today, I'm leaving a party that I served for over 25 years to join the Liberal Party.
So there's no answer to that.
Next question, Raymond Fillon, TVA.
On the same subject. So you're open to welcoming Mr. Soudas into the Liberal Party? I bring people into the Liberal Party, and I don't judge those individuals based on their partners. I welcome people into the party. I am proud of Eve. I know she has the support of her family, so I'm proud to bring in someone who is so strong and who has the capacity to serve, as she has showed throughout her career.
You're talking about mean-spiritedness. The Conservative Party no longer reflects your values. You're talking about income splitting. But you do all those things. You campaigned on income splitting in 2011, did you?
As I mentioned to you, the numbers have been hashed out now over the last year and a half, and you'll recall former Finance Minister Jim Flaherty coming out very publicly and saying that he no longer supported income splitting, that upon reflection, upon review of those numbers, it really did disadvantage far too many middle-class Canadians and really advantaged a very small sliver of society. So, you know, a widow would not benefit from this. A single mom wouldn't benefit from this. A couple who earn, you know, a decent, a very, very good wage of $44,000 a year income, and perhaps the spouse earns about $60,000 a year, that type of couple would not benefit in any way from income splitting. It really takes someone with a very large delta between the two incomes to benefit, and you have to be married. So there's a social conservatism to it, but more importantly, it's just profoundly unfair to the middle class that would be forced to pay for this. And so, you know, politics is rough, and sometimes you're pushed into the boards, sometimes it's your own team pushing you into the boards, but you pick yourself up and you keep working on behalf of Canadians. It ought not to be about these process stories or about internal mechanizations of parties. It should be about the fact that you're given this wonderful opportunity to serve Canadians, and how do you best utilize that opportunity? And I think that if you go back and even speak to my constituents, I'm just a ferocious advocate on behalf of my constituents. You know, as recently as this past month, I brought over $16 million worth of announcements to my community, more than double the size of the passport office. I'm relentless when it comes to assisting folks weed through government red tape or visitor visa applications, and particularly help new immigrants. I mean, I'm the child of immigrants, and I genuinely have a passion to serve Canadians. And I see that in the Liberal Party. I see that in Justin Trudeau. It is a strong, optimistic, kind leadership, and with a vision for Canada that includes helping people, and not simply about making sure that you win the next election, and not about pitting one group of Canadians against another group of Canadians. It's about good government and optimism. And I think a lot of folks are looking at Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party and seeing that is just hopeful and optimistic, but strong leadership at the same time.
Next question, David Aikens on TV.
I'm pretty sure, good morning, I'm pretty sure the only seat in the GTA that does not have a nominated Liberal candidate would be the one now held by Lisa Raitt. Can we stop the pussyfooting around, I guess, and say you'll be the Liberal candidate, or try to be the Liberal candidate in the riding of Halton?
So, David, I'd like to go back to the community, obviously, and make this announcement from the community out of respect for the community.
Okay,
it's imminent in a couple of days.
Fools then to say that that's not the one you'll be running in.
David,
yeah.
Your facts aren't quite straight on that one, unfortunately. We still have a number of open ridings or unconfirmed ridings on that one.
All right, great. Thank you for that. And I guess the second thing is can you clear up, Ms. Adams, can you clear up the status of your attempts to run for the Conservative Party? We're under the impression that you tried a couple of ridings, you asked the PM to intervene, that you were not going to get a chance to seek a nomination for the Conservative Party in the GTA. Is that correct?
Obviously, I don't want to disclose private discussions, but yes, I was asked to step aside, which I did, and I offered my resignation many months ago. I was not taken up on that. And in fact, I've been doing yeoman's duty as parliamentary secretary, making very significant announcements, you know, over $20 million at Sick Kids Hospital within the last month. I've been working awfully hard, and there certainly has been a great deal of confidence in my work. I was taking questions as late as last week in question period. There's no animosity, if that's what you're alluding to.
So you tried to quit the Conservatives, and they said no?
Last August, yes.
I mean, it's entirely within your power to walk out anyway.
I was very sick at the time, as you'll recall, and I'd offered, you know, to go and spend more time with my family. But I think you will all look, and you can pull the record. My committee attendance is exceptional. My attendance in the House of Commons is exceptional. I work awfully hard on behalf of my constituents, return phone calls late into the night. I've been working very, very hard. I think a lot of Canadians, when they go through something difficult, it starts some soul-searching and some reflection conversations within your family. You can still be extremely passionate about your job and about serving Canadians, and I think that my work ethic speaks for itself. I have been working awfully hard for my community.
Laura Stone, Global.
Ms. Adams, how do you convince people that you're not being opportunistic, that you're just taking whatever you can get now because you tried so hard to run for the Conservatives and now you can't, so you're just going to take the Liberals?
Oh, I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way. The point is that, you know, I'm being actively and heavily recruited right now to run in a municipal by-election, as you may know. It's not about that. It's not, honestly, this is not about having a tough day at the office, or, you know, everybody has grumpy bosses from time to time. This is about the fact that my values simply don't align with this team, and that I'd like to continue serving Canadians. And I believe truly that Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party offer the most positive, hopeful leadership available to Canadians. And I think going to serve Canadians exceptionally well.
And Mr. Trudeau, do you have any concerns if Dimitri Soudis does run for the Conservatives in Oakville and he's still involved with Ms. Adams and she runs for the Liberals? I don't know if that's possible, but if that does happen, would you have concerns about any of that?
I am confident that in Eve we have added to our team a strong, compassionate, value-driven, hard-working member of the Liberal Party of Canada, Liberal Caucus, and I look forward to working with her and everyone she brings with her.
Last question, Catherine Collin, CBC.
Mr. Trudeau, there were some pretty serious allegations involving what was going on with Ms. Adams' camp during some of the nomination races. I know you've tried to brand yourself as somebody who's interested in openness and transparency. I wonder to what degree you're concerned that those kinds of allegations are going to follow her to your party and be a problem for you.
I'm not going to comment on internal Conservative nomination difficulties. I am going to say that I'm incredibly proud of the process that we have established, and I look forward to watching Eve work very hard to earn the right to represent a constituency in the next election for the Liberal Party of Canada.
Then perhaps to both of you, do you think that Ms. Adams represents the kind of openness and transparency that you're trying to bring forward?
I'm incredibly proud of Eve's openness, her candor in the very difficult discussion, decision that she had to take. When I first sat down with Eve last week, she talked at length about her deep commitment to the Progressive Conservative Party and her long history of volunteering, of contributing, and shared with me just how difficult it was for her to recognize that the party that she had devoted so many years of her life to simply was not the party she was now a part of. And I recognize both her candor and her strength in this process.
Thank you very much.
Merci.